Greetings and holy salutations. My name is Fritz Mandelis, and this is my final presentation for experimental psychology. And today, I will be going over ethics in experimental psychology. Throughout history, many experiments and questions have been asked about in the topic of psychology. Unfortunately, however, many people have been, whether unknowingly or unknowingly, subjected to unethical experiments without proper consent. Due to the long history of people going through these practices, now institutional review boards oversee psychological experiments to enforce guidelines and regulations and make sure that psychology is as ethical as possible. Today, I will be going over the history and current principles that make up ethics in psychology. The history of ethics in experimental psychology developed largely in response to controversial studies that exposed the need to protect participants. Early researchers often prioritized scientific discovery over individual welfare, as seen as John B. Watson's conditioning work and the distress that caused the Little Albert experiment. Later, studies like Stan Milgram's obedience experiments and Philip Zimbardo's Stanford prison experiment raised serious concerns about deception, psychological harm, and lack of informed consent. These controversies led to formal ethical guidelines, including requirements for informed consent, the right to withdraw, protection from harm, and debriefing. Then, organizations such as the American Psychological Association established ethical codes to ensure that modern psychological research balances scientific advancement with respect for human dignity and participant safety. Current key ethical principles are included, but not limited to, informed consent. Participants must be fully informed of the study's purpose, risk, benefits, and provide written consent. Protection from harm. Researchers must ensure participant well-being, minimizing distress or long-term negative effects. Voluntary participation and withdrawal. Participants must be free of coercion and retain the right to withdraw from a study at any time. Confidentiality and anonymity. Participant data must be protected, with identifying info to keep confidential or anonymous. And debriefing. Following a study, participants should be informed of the study's true purpose, especially if deception was used. And in our current time and conclusion. Now, ethics and psychology are regulated by official codes and regulations that seem to safeguard the rights of subjects while at the same time facilitating research. The American Psychological and Institutional Review Board, among other groups, demand that researchers seek informed consent from subjects, ensure confidentiality in handling information, preventing any form of harm, and conduct full debriefing of subjects after the experiments, especially when deceit was employed. Such adherence to ethical practices ensures public confidence in research, enhances its validity and reliability, and prevents exploitation or distresses of the subjects. However, such codes of ethics might limit some experiments, especially ones that involve risk or deception. And thank you. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Here's a list of references. Have a nice day, and yeah.